Hello, everyone. I'm Teresa Barker, your radio host. Today, we have a very special guest. Sarah Lawson is an executive coach and leadership consultant. Drawing upon over 15 years of leadership experience, ranging from higher education to the arts, she knows that leadership can be fulfilling and frustrating, even for dedicated, skilled, and creative people. As an executive coach, Sarah's guidance offers leaders the tools and inspiration to address big challenges, to do their best work, to make a meaningful difference, and to have fun doing it. We invited her today to talk about the burgeoning world of executive coaching, why people in organizations seek out coaching, and what they can get out of coaching. Sarah, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really great to be here. I'm really passionate about the work that I do with my clients. They're working on such big issues, ranging from getting early childhood education to the kids who need it most, to researching diseases that really cause a lot of human suffering. And in my role as an executive coach, I get to support their work, both to help them expand their impact, but also so that they can find more fulfillment in their work, so that leadership doesn't have to be sacrificial. And it is actually a burgeoning profession. I think in the last 15 years, executive coaching has really expanded as a leadership development tool, but people still have a lot of questions about, well, how does it work, and is this something for me? So I want to jump right in and answer your questions about why people seek coaching and what that process accomplishes, and then we can open things up for questions. So first off, why do people seek coaching? The International Coach Federation actually did a really big survey about this a couple of years ago, and they identified a lot of the top reasons that people seek coaching. And the most common one is actually to strengthen individual and team performance within organizations. Another really common reason is to expand professional opportunities. So that could be somebody who's aspiring to another level of leadership, or it could actually be a big career change. So that looks like different things. Another reason that's really common is that people are looking to increase their self-confidence. They might actually be finding a lot of success, but their internal conversation with themselves is really struggling with, am I the right person for this job, or am I doing a good job? And so that's actually often an area of work in executive coaching. And then the fourth big area is actually managing work-life balance, and that's certainly something that comes up for a lot of people, especially in the past few years as organizations have seen budgets tighten and all kinds of challenges happening. So this actually, the results from the ICF study, it's a lot what I experience in my practice as well. Every client situation is different, but I do tend to work with people who are really passionate about their work. They're very successful, thoughtful people, but somehow they're stuck. There's something going on in their situation. And it can look like a lot of different things, but there are two main scenarios where people show up for coaching. And the first is that they're facing some kind of big challenge, and that might be something, they're wrestling with murky goals, or there are a lot of competing priorities in the organization, so it's not clear what to do. Could be something around dysfunctional teams, or just the stresses of leadership. And I have my echo timer here. Thank you. The second thing is that their confidence is shaken, as I mentioned a little bit before. It could be that something happened that's really blindsided them, and they're just not sure what to do about that, or that they've taken on a really ambitious project and they're not sure they're up to the task. And it's interesting, I hear a lot of the same refrains. They say things to themselves like, I'm not sure I'm the right person for this job. I think about quitting every day. We're not really working as a team. I feel like I'm letting my family down. I'm always at work. And so that's actually, segues into your second question about what does coaching accomplish? And it really gives people a venue to look at those things that they're struggling with. Because, if you're in a leadership position, you can't necessarily go to your boss to wrestle with this. You can't necessarily talk to your staff and say, hey, I'm actually having a hard time figuring out how to manage you. Could you work with me on that? And you may or may not want to talk to your family about it. And they have a stake in or maybe an agenda for you anyway. And so coaching actually gives people a really safe, confidential place to have a sounding board and to look at all of these different issues. And what we find is that people do, through this process, report that they are more productive, that they experience, I don't know if this is a word, but I'm going to make it up, a re-burgeoning sense of courage and confidence. And they actually get to expand their impact and feel better as they're doing it and enjoy their work more. So I think with that, we'll just sort of open things up for questions.
Great. So do we have any callers on the line?
It's really weird, the whole non-eye contact thing about the radio.
Caller number 1, Brett from Kirkland. No,
Hey, Sarah.
go ahead with your question.
I'm just wondering how someone gets into executive coaching and maybe how long you've been doing it for.
My experience has been, I've been a consultant for a few years, and as I've been working on projects with organizations, it really struck me that there's always an individual that's kind of driving the project and that benefits from a more tailored kind of source of support in that, in putting together or implementing whatever project is happening. And so that's where I sort of made the leap a couple of years ago into doing a lot more one-on-one work. And for me, I guess I'm really empathetic to how lonely leadership can be. And, you know, being a young executive director, I didn't really choose to be in a leadership position. It was sort of like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I have ideas for this organization, there's stuff I want to do, but I had never really paid attention to developing myself as a leader. And at this point, there are things that I really wish I'd had access to 15 years ago in my career. And so I'm really committed to making some of those resources available to people.
Cool. Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other callers on the line? John from Norway.
Okay. Very interesting to hear about this. Sarah, so when you give executives advice, are they, do you see that they actually take your advice and make changes?
Well, you know, I mean, the interesting thing about like the difference between coaching and consulting, and sometimes there's a lot of overlap, but coaching really focuses on helping people find their own solutions to things. So I might say, hey, I have some ideas about this, or would you be interested in hearing how other executives have solved this kind of challenge in other places? But it's really up to you as the client to say, okay, this is what fits for me, this is what makes sense for me in my setting, because really you're the expert in your life and developing what's an authentic leadership style for you. So, I mean, much as it would be easy sometimes to just delegate decision-making to others, really it's still up to all of us to make those choices about what we want to do and how we want to handle a particular challenge. Thanks.
Other caller, Ji Hong from University of Washington.
Thanks. I have a probably unrelated question. So executive coaching, so is there any like professional coaching different from executive coaching?
You know, there's a lot of overlap. Some people, there's a whole field around career coaching, so people helping people develop along a career path, and executive coaching might be one subset of that. So there's a lot of overlap. And, you know, honestly, within coaching, people will call different pieces of coaching, you know, there's a lot of overlap. And one of the things that I think is really true about coaching is that you're always dealing with the whole individual. So it might be about what they're struggling with at work, but that's affecting their family. Or they might be struggling with something in their family, and that's affecting their effectiveness at work. So you're always sort of looking at what's going on with the whole person.
Well, it looks like we have to go to a break now. So we want to thank Sarah Lawson, our executive coach and leadership consultant, for visiting with us today and for sharing with us information about executive coaching and what you can get out of it.
Thank you so much.